How to improve your mile time. I'm no connoisseur in the mile, right? I've been running for 8 years now. The mile has been always like my second event. Usually, you know, I'm either a 3 mile or a 2 mile guy, but I've always done the mile. It's not a problem with me. In high school, my PR was 4:29, and next track season, or I guess this one, whatever, I'm trying to go under like sub 4:20. I get DMs sometimes and stuff, and I get questions sometimes like, how do I improve my mile? How do I blah, blah, blah? I'm just kidding. You think I have enough fucking fans for that? But at the end of the day, you know, I kind of just want to give some tips, share some, you know, wisdom on how to improve your mile time. So these are 6 tips that I believe will help you improve your mile time. 1600 meter, 1500 meter mile, it's all the same area. Step number 1, you gotta know your workout. You gotta know that you have to do the right types of workout. I've seen a couple milers, right, who really want, or just runners in general, that really want to be good at the mile. They're like, the mile's my event, I got this. And then they're doing workouts that are like made for 800 runners, that are made for like 2 miles or 3 miles. And I look at it and I'm just like, stop. When I was in high school, we would divide our training groups into the 800 guys, the mile guys, and the 2 mile guys, and it'd be perfect, you know? The best types of workouts, you know, I think for milers are 400 repeats are essential, or just any kind of repeats, you know? Sometimes it's like cut down repeats, you know, you start at like, let's say 1200 meters, then you go 1000 meters, then you go 800 meters, then you go 600 meters, 400 meters, 200 meters, like those types of workouts. Another thing, tempos are essential. You might think it's all just speed stuff. It's not. You need tempo runs as well. Probably about 3-4 miles, I'd say, at whatever pace is just right for you. When I was running miles, you know, about the 430 range, my tempo runs were about 530 to 535 on good days. And you have to know your paces too. Like if you're doing the 8x400, make sure it's based off of whatever your mile PR is or whatever you want to hit. Go to like McMillan running calculator or something like that. That's what I always use. That's how I would kind of always know where I'm at. Strides after your distance runs are important too. I would do mine like on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I do about 8 to 10 of them. Like about each of them was about 80 meters, 100 meters, somewhere between there. So that stuff's important too. Also, don't think just because you're gonna try and be a miler, you can skip out on the endurance stuff. Because step number 2, look at that. Step number 2, yo, I'm sorry. Step number 2 is that endurance is just as important as speed. The mile is like, they could say it's about the 800, they could say it's about whatever, but the mile is like the event where it's endurance mixed with speed. You gotta have it. Don't skip out on those long runs or whatever on whatever day they are and you go, you know, I'm only gonna go like 4-mile runs. You can't be doing that. Endurance is literally just as important as speed. Those guys that are going like sub 4 miles, they can crank out 200 meters all sub 29 or some shit like that. Faster than that, but you know what I mean. And then they're coming back the next day, or not the next day, but they're coming out later, and then they can crank out like these 8-mile tempos and stuff. The point is, maybe not to those extreme of times or distance or whatever, but the point is they're able to do both because the mile is that event. It's made for both. You have to be able to do both. I've seen people that rely too much on speed or rely too much on, like, in those perfect milers I've seen, the ones that I think are like great for it are the ones that have just as much speed as they have endurance. So it's the perfect mix. Step number 3, do not be discouraged. When I say that, what does that mean? Well, obviously, like for example, here we go. When I was a freshman in high school, right? I literally had, I think it was 9, 10, 11 attempts in a row at the mile, and I just wanted to go sub 5. I was so close. I would either run 502, 501, 503, or 5 flat every fucking time. And then there was like one meet, I just like did it in a 2 mile out of nowhere. I ran like a 458 first split because my mind was off. I don't know what it was. At the end of the day, the mile, just track events in general, whatever, like it can be easy to be discouraged. But again, like if you're trying and trying, like say you want to run a 440 and you're always running the 440s, you know, you can't go under and it seems impossible. Just keep at it. If you keep training, you know what you're doing, and you're trying to know what you're doing, you're working hard and stuff, the results will come. But it's very easy to be discouraged in the mile. So don't do it. Believe in yourself. Step number 4, you have to pace it right. For pretty much, you know, the 2 mile, the 800, whatever event you want to talk, you gotta pace that stuff right. Again, I've seen times where there's people that like can go out and absurd the first or second or whatever laps, and then they will just fall off completely. There was a guy who ran, he went to a different school or whatever, and his PR ended up being like a 425 or something. That was towards the end of the season though, when he actually learned how to pace. Because I saw races at the beginning of the season, he would go out in like a 61, and then he would just get slower and slower and slower every lap, and he'd run like high 430s. You have to pace it right. You can't lag behind either. You can't like try to negative split. The best mile races I've ever had, any year of high school, any year of junior high, whatever, I negative split. Every PR almost, like the best days are the days that I negative split. Like try and do that for yourself. I think the first 800, like in my opinion, I think the first 800 should be a hard effort, but just like you have to be ready to try and make the second one faster. That should be the goal. When I say pace yourself right away, that does not mean by all means the first lap take it slow or whatever, because if you take it too slow that first lap, it's gonna be extremely hard to catch up the other three. I can't speak English right now. Yeah. Try and get them consistent or try the negative split. That's what I could say. Step number 5, you gotta increase your mileage flow and you gotta have consistency with it. Consistency is key in your training, obviously. If you're having one week an 80-mile week, right? And then the next week you have a 50-mile week, and then you go up to a 70-mile week, and then you go down to a 40-mile week. Like, you cannot do that. You might think it's right, but trust me, it's not. You have to go up in mileage progressively each season. And then when it comes time for championship time, of course, your coach or whatever is gonna ease up the mileage and stuff just a bit, which is good, because then your body is designed to peak or whatever. But again, having all these mismatched training weeks and stuff is not good. Days off too. Everybody thinks, you know, like days off. Like there are people that can take like a day off a week. In my opinion, this is just coming from me. I don't recommend that at all. For me, at least, it resets my legs, especially consistent days off. Like any season I tried to do that, it would just not work at all. For me, I'd probably take a day off. I don't know, it depends, but maybe once every like 2 months. That's how it was for me when I was doing my best. But again, if you start out your summer and you're doing like, you know, you start out 30 miles, maybe go up by 3 every single week, and by the end of summer, maybe you'll be, I don't know why I'm talking about summer. This is fucking track. Well, let's say January then, right? You start at whatever mile and then you just progressively go up, maybe like 3 a week or whatever. And by the end, you should be in enough good shape, and it's like, you're gonna feel it at first, especially if you're not used to it. But again, your body just needs to get used to it. It will all pay off in the end. 97%, I promise. Step number 6. I don't know. 6. Lifting and core is essential. For the mile, you know, give me a weak miler, basically. It's just like looking at someone with the 800. Like, these guys are not small. Look at these guys. Look at them. They're all shredded. The mile is such an event where you need a strong upper core to get you through that. Getting in whatever, your 2 or 3 lifting days a week. Getting in your core almost every day. That stuff is going to be able to hold you, because it's so easy. Everyone here most likely is running 400, 800. You know how your arms are giving out and everything. Like, it hurts. That could be prevented, most likely. Just have to really train your muscles for that. Again, because the mile is such an event where you need to be strong in it. Honestly, that's going to be it. I mean, in my opinion, that's what I think is the 6 most essential tips for, well, not most essential. Those are 6 tips that are definitely going to be a help. If anybody has any questions, leave it in the comments below. I will be happy to, I don't know why I said it. I will be very happy to answer. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead. I really hope this video helped. Thank you guys so very much for watching. It's Steven. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time. You say her. A, B, C, D, me.